On this episode of The Joy of Songwriting.
You are going to meet more people who are going to expand your knowledge and your skill more and expand your opportunities more. That's really where it all begins.
Right.
Life is a collaboration. That was pretty profound.
That's pretty good.
Wow.
We'll see you next week. I've got to go write a song. Thank you.
You write the song. I'm gonna needlepoint that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Joy of Songwriting, coming to you from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, as part of Songwriting University. We're here in a great city where every other person you meet is a songwriter and every third person is a realtor. It is boomtown. Here at Songwriting University, we're helping songwriters everywhere get the music inside out. Visit us at songwritingu.com today and learn more. I'm Billy Sprague.
And I'm Joe Beck, and today we have a fabulous show. We're kind of changing things up here. Our guest today is Brooks Maguire, and the cool thing about him is Brooks is actually a client. We have worked with him over the last 3 years or so. He's a client. So what I wanted to give the audience is the actual experience firsthand from somebody to go, here, I'm one of you. Here's what the experience was like. Brooks is from Maui. He plays at Cheeseburger in Paradise right there on the island. So it's going to be a great time, and I think you'll enjoy the show. You'll learn a lot from it.
Yeah, but before we get to the interview, in each episode, we'd like to answer a question from a songwriter. If you have a question, you can submit it to us via email to joy@songwritingu.com. What's our question today, Joe?
Well, this is our question, Billy. It comes to us from Dan S. in Oklahoma. I've been writing songs for years, but I'm not sure where to start in terms of monetizing what I have. Do I have to have a number one hit to make a decent living in this music business?
For those of you in Chillicothe, Texas, monetizing means making money. How do you turn music into money?
Well, Dan, like everything in life, the economy ebbs and flows. So any of us that are professionals, to be point blank honest, the economy of entertainment publishing is like, the Jimmy Carter era. There are people standing in line trying to collect checks. Remember the gas lines? But having said that, and not wanting to be negative, there's a number of things you do. I don't know. For instance, are you do you play? A lot of songwriters they play because
they go out and play.
It feeds their habit. It gives them access to capital. But let's talk about this, Billy.
Well, I would tell you the thing that comes to mind is there's a wonderful book out called Tribes by Seth Godin, and he's all about building your own tribe who loves what you do. And a portion of his book is dedicated to the music industry, and he believes, especially with social media, you don't have to put up brick and mortar and have Home Depot and people come buy your stuff. They can get it online. And Seth Godin is a big proponent that if you have 1,000 people following you and love what you do, you can monetize that to a degree. Send them a song. You can start a subscription thing. You can target them when you go to play live. They show up at your gigs. And so you have to create your own tribe. It's there is a mentality, used to be in Nashville, the lottery mentality. If I could just get a Garth cut, I won't have to work the rest of my life. Well, I know people with Garth cuts who still have to work and still want to write, and some of them have gone and gotten their realtor's license, and so you have to subsidize. But there are ways to do that as a out of your trunk selling CDs or online download artist. There's a way that people can, who like what you do, support what you do.
Well, you're always, like we say, you're always trying to hope you get heard. A song has to be heard. It has to be heard by the right set of ears at the right time. But one of the things that's cool about a modern world is there are so many things out there. There's so many little social media companies a la, the CD Baby world. And I'm not saying they're one, but what's the big one?
There's Reverb Nation.
Reverb Nations. And the cool thing about these companies is you don't have to sign your life away. When we got started, it was and I always feel sorry for people really navigating through this today, because one part of the music business was easier back then. If somebody discovered you signed a deal and they paid a lot of the bills, not only giving you draws and covering your demo costs. But nowadays there are so many little areas where you can place a song and maybe it gets in a TV show, or maybe it gets used here or there. And that's the best way to get your songs heard right now, would you say, Billy? I mean,
yeah, and one of those, and we talk about this a lot in all of our episodes, you'll see it on our website, is collaboration. If you have never co-written, that's a way to monetize and network so that your songs have a farther reach, and the potential goes up for actually making a few shekels from what you create.
But I hate this question, Dan, because it's probably the hardest question we'll ever answer. Because you want to be honest and you want to be sincere and try to help, but that's a hard question to actually give you any hope for, or so hopefully we were helpful. If you have a songwriting question, you can submit it to us via email to joy@songwritingu.com.
Stay tuned to the end of this episode, and Joe and I will give you a songwriting exercise to challenge yourself this week to create some momentum. Now, let's get to our interview with Brooks Maguire.
Today we're going into a place that I love. We are actually going to spend some quality time with somebody who's actually a friend and a client. And Brooks Maguire is coming to you from a place we are jealous of, Maui. Brooks, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Well, you want me to, if you really want to know, me, I like to do the Maui gloat. So I'm doing great, with rainbow. This is rainbow season out here. We get a little, when we have winter, we have a little mist and stuff, but I think I saw a total of about 12 different blazing rainbows yesterday. How are y'all doing?
Well, fantastic.
Well, I appreciate you getting up and being on our podcast this morning. Honored. I love you. But
Thank you, man.
Today what I want to talk about with you is, because you're one of the first people that ever really worked with us, I want you to share, just to start with, talk a little bit about your, what you do and what your experience was with and segue into how it relates with us.
Okay. Yeah. I've been a self-taught guitarist. I wouldn't even call myself a guitarist, but I've sung all my life. And then I got out of college and decided that I wanted to be Jackson Brown, or at least his buddy. And I moved to Austin, Texas with my guitar and started singing. And I began to write and wrote a few songs. And that's about as far as it got, because I was concerned about making a living, eating and stuff. And so I started that back in the late 70s. And in 87, I moved to, made a career decision to move to Maui. I'd say that with, tongue in cheek. And, but I've been real fortunate that I've succeeded out here and didn't calculate the whole world would come to me rather than me get in the car and go to a different city every night. Anyway, at one point, I made a cassette of, I think it was about eight songs that I had written, and only one of them even that I consider today has any value. And then later on, when CDs came in, I made a CD of the same recording of the 8 songs that I'd written, simply as a product to sell from the stage and to enhance my income. And then I was introduced to Joe Beck by phone after a fella out of Nashville who had was getting ready to start a record label, unbeknownst to both of us at the time. And anyway, we struck up a friendship, and Joe offered to mentor me in writing, but we never did anything for a long time until the man that introduced us by phone did put together, they're going to launch their record label, and they decided that I should be the premier artist. And so we began to write, and did it in a way that I had never imagined. I had never written with anybody. I wrote my 8 bad songs, and then Joe, basically guided me through it, and we did it, by Skyping, as a video chat type thing, and I found it was, it wasn't as easy or as difficult as I had imagined it in my, even sitting in front of somebody, and mainly because of, Joe's ability to demystify it, for one, and as well as we basically just throw out lyrics, to each other and go back and forth. I had my guitar and he had his piano, and just it was modeled for me in the sessions that we had, and so as we wrote, it's just one idea to the other, and plus we're yakking and talking and cutting up and it was an experience that for me made me comfortable, made me know that I did actually have some talent, and he would point those things out to me as we would be throwing out
Did it help?
ideas.
I mean, did it enhance your creativity? I mean, try to
absolutely. I'll tell you how it did it. It one of it was just confirmation. Your confirmation. I throw it out loud. You go, wait, that's good. No, that's good. Or write that. Let's take that, and then you would jump in and either add to it or just leave it as it was. One of the strongest aspects for me is you made me comfortable to throw in my ideas.
Yeah.
And when one would come out, and I'm sitting here with somebody who's got, massive number of hits, massive catalog to tell me, hey, that's good. So again, one was confident. Then his own ideas he'd throw out. A lot of times I would go, wow, that, and it also, there was a little bit of I don't know if competitive is the right word, but the desire to put in some good stuff too, and contribute and to strive, to match this guy that, got this resume that I don't think I have. And, yet I didn't, you took away any fear and insecurity I had about my own writing in some of these techniques.
Billy, let's take a second and talk about co-writing. How did you start co-writing? What was your first big experience?
Well, I didn't co-write until I got to town. I had 30 or 40 songs under my arm when I hit Nashville. I had never sat in a room with anybody and co-written anything with anybody else, and realized that was sort of standard fare around here. And I began to co-write. I was people, and the sparks began to fly, and I went, man, this is a fantastic way to raise the level of my writing game.
I know I personally was this way. I literally thought I'm cheating on I'm co-writing a song, and nothing is farther from the truth.
Right.
It takes you farther.
Yeah.
It really does.
When you and I get together and we slam out on whether it starts with a concept we're writing for, or you just are at the piano and you play something, I go, wait a minute, do that again. And I think I have this line that fits that. And
which I can never do.
Yeah, you
No.
can't remember what you played 3 minutes ago.
I can't. But here's the biggest thing about co-writing. It's not as lonely.
That's exactly right. And then you always have to decide where to have lunch.
Do you really want to go eat Mexican food by yourself?
That's right.
That's not fun.
That's right. With the idea you came to me with Songwriting University, a while back. We've created this platform where if you're way out there in the hinterland somewhere, there's no other songwriters around, you can actually connect. We have a service to help songwriters find a co-writer that they need through Songwriting University.
If you're a beginning songwriter, or maybe you've been playing an instrument since you were a kid and you have that idea that you haven't been able to finish, Songwriting University can help you, I promise.
Right. And you decide what genre you want to write, whether you're country or rock or gospel, whatever it may be, and you want to write Songwriting University, we can team you with one of our amazing writers.
Our writing staff, which continues to grow, but our writing staff has 3,000 major cuts in country, pop, gospel, and Christian music, foreign music, and we've contributed to over 30 or 50. We've contributed to over 50 Grammy-nominated and award-winning songs.
So go to songwritingu.com today and click the Book a Session button to learn more.
At Songwriting University, you can discover the music in you. I remember a song we worked on, Brooks, one of the first ones, Land of Regret. Remember that idea?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
I just remember you having an idea, Land of Regret, and I remember liking the idea. I don't,
yeah.
But right now I'm going to play a piece of the original work tape.
Oh, let me sit down. Okay, hang on.
Don't be scared.
Here
Don't
we
be
go.
scared.
I'm scared now. Now I am scared.
She had faraway eyes and a blank stare. Didn't even notice I was standing there. Deep in thought that had furrowed her brow. Somewhere else than the here and now. Waving my hand before her glassy eyes. Only then did she begin to realize someone's next to her, invading her personal space. A sudden look of surprise came upon her face. I asked her, where's your mind, darling? As our eyes met, she said, wandering around in the land of rest. Land of regrets, yeah, I know it well. Been there, done that for quite some spell. Littered with broken promises, outright lies, selfish deeds, and plenty of compromise. But my exodus came when I saw the light, chose to repent my wicked ways and make things right. Laid claim to my promised land before me, said never to return to the land of rest. Manna from heaven feeds my soul, fills me up and makes me whole. Pillars of clouds by day, pillars of fire by night, led me away from my worry and fret, crossing my Jordan out of the land of
So there's the original work tape. Now I'm going to play the finished version after we tweaked the lyrics. And I remember in that song, and you were real good at this, I mainly, because you work with writers in different ways, I pushed you, instead of me putting my spin on it lyrically, whether or not why I did it, I pushed you to put your own spin on it and just kept pushing you to go farther. And I would kind of run with your ideas, but you did a good job on that song.
Blank stare. Didn't even notice I was standing there, deep in thought that had furrowed her brow, somewhere else other than the here and now. Waving my hand before her glassy eyes, only then did she begin to realize someone next to her invading her space. A sudden look of surprise came upon her face, and I asked her, where was your mind, darling? As our eyes met, she said, wandering around in the land of regrets. Regrets, honey, I know it well. Been there, done that, and it's a living hell. Living with broken promises and outright lies, selfish deeds and plenty of compromise. My exodus came when I saw the light. Chose to repent my ways and make things right. My sea of disappointment then began to part. Crossed over Jordan to a brand new start. Laid claim to my promised land before me, said never to return to the land of regrets. No. Heaven feeds my soul, fills me up and it makes me whole. Pillar of cloud by day, pillar of fire by night. Now I know everything's gonna be alright. Lead me away from my worry and fret, never to return to the land of regret. To return to the land of regrets. No
one of the things that I remember too is that it wasn't always just you throwing. Again, good point. You did push me as I think about this, and you didn't actually take it over. But when I sent you a big bulk of that song, and then as we started to work on it, you went, "Hey, wait a minute." I remember you cut and pasted almost for visual terms. You took verses and split them and moved one part around and then moved a chorus, in or a line in different sections. And all of a sudden, again, because of your experience, it all of a sudden it made this song that I liked the rhyming scheme and the idea behind it. But all of a sudden it made it pop like, okay, this is something that, that really is good, that I didn't have that kind of background and experience to even know to do. And it wasn't necessarily you writing something in it. You rearranged what I had written. That popped it, and it's like, whoa, I got a song here,
Brooks, that is awesome. That's so practical for the songwriters listening out there. I really latched on one of the words you said was, Joe helped demystify the process. This co-writing thing. If you've never co-written, or if your songwriting is still a pretty daunting thing, how do I finish something and is it any good? Getting with someone, it's like playing racquetball. Play racquetball with someone better, you got to step it up, and how did you do that backhand? That was awesome. Teach me that. So this is exactly the experience we want people to have. And I gather from your attitude about this, and I haven't even met you in person, but I know how exhilarated you've been about the process and the progress of the body of work you've been able to create.
Well, and gosh, we started this in, give me a second, 2014, and it's not even 2020 yet. So really 5 years, 5.5 years, and I've got 3 CDs worth of material that just, writing with you, Billy and Joe, and that's phenomenal. Especially when I personally had written 9 bad songs starting in 1980 and not having, I think I hadn't written a song at all, even attempted, since 1999.
Wow.
So 15 years. And the other thing I want that globbing on what you had just said, Billy, is that the demystification of it is, I didn't even know the process. I mean, and so again, y'all jumped in and made it so easy. I mean, it's just, I would say out there for somebody that is thinking about this, particularly somebody that's never written with someone, like I said, it was so simple. The other is, why would we ever want to do this? I'm talking to me now, but I was thinking I always had to do this all myself. Man, if I got to move, if I got to move my furniture, I'm not gonna approach that the same way. And I would encourage somebody else is that you don't want somebody else to. I mean, you want somebody else to help you.
That's right. That's right.
Do and like you said, particularly with somebody that's got some writing muscle and experience and knows how to move that couch, a little bit easier, the writing couch, we might call it. But no, I don't think I want to write alone anymore.
Well, it's all about
absolutely
connection. Yeah.
And I want to say now, speaking of the connection, that I'm writing an article for deal about connection is we almost, spent more time having fun and cutting up than, again, I've told people this, is that in my sessions with you two guys, is that, and this may not be a selling point to somebody buying in, but I would say it is. It's like, we got the songs done in the session, but the biggest part of it was was connecting and laughing and cutting up. And then there were times where we're like, the conversation around the song would turn serious and in a sense of intent of,
right.
of jumping in on it. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I look forward to it more.
Yeah.
About hanging out with you guys and cutting up along the way, because it's just a big ball of fun.
Yeah, you get hooked on it, and I love that. I never get tired of that, taking that raw song, and when I put it in a great producer's hands and walk out. How did it feel? We want to give a lot of people this experience, this creative experience. How did it feel? You finish a song, and you thought, man, that is not just good enough. That is really good, and I played a part in that. And you walk out of the studio, and you play it over and over again, and you even setting your own ego aside, it's done. It is. You can send it around the world. It's gotten out of you. Describe that feeling?
Well, again, I think just the human being. I think we all have a sense of when you get something done, especially if you've got questions of whether you can, or something that you want to say, and that particularly for me, something I want to say, because I write songs with an intent of a message, and is that you get it out, and again, I'll come back in on the using of the combined talents of somebody, is that I can always do better using it with somebody else, no matter what it is. And so, and then you push back, and almost all the songs I've written, I come away and I'm just flabbergasted is a word maybe I should use it. You sit back and you go, there's a sense of accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
You like you said, there's that inner knowing, like this can speak, again, because of my intent to want to have songs that are having messages that touch people's hearts and lives. That, I even got a visual image I can remember. I think it was Land of Regret. We got done, and I've got this little table, and I've got this little Costco chair that I sit and write in, and so I just leaned it back on the back two legs, and it was a sense of again, only accomplishment and satisfaction and further excitement to go, I can't wait to get this one down, recorded. Mm-hmm. And again, y'all have put me in touch with some of my heroes, actually, to get to finally get these down and recorded.
That's a good point, too, to make, that as one of the founders, I haven't yet 100% figured out, because legally you want to be careful with this, but I do know, and I can say this, that one of the beauties of coming into this world, Songwriting University world, you develop your network and you meet people. We're very conscious. Now, I will tell you about networking. It's not us giving it to you. It's 70% you. A door opens. You still have to walk through it.
Right.
I can't force people to walk through a door, but I'm glad you're mentioning that, because that's the way my career started. It's somebody opened a door. Will McFarlane. I've introduced you to him. We love Will, famous guitar player.
Absolutely.
But years ago in Muscle Shoals, he opened a tiny door, and I walked through it.
Right.
And you meet more people. That's more Songwriting University. I can promise you, out there in podcast world, if you come be a part of it, you are going to meet more people who are going to expand your knowledge and your skill more, and expand your opportunities more. And that's really where it all begins.
Right.
Life is a collaboration. And that was pretty profound.
That's pretty good.
Hey, I'll be back. I've got to go.
Wow.
We'll see you next week. I've got to go write a song. Thank you.
You write the song. I'm gonna needlepoint that.
Yeah.
But you guys.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, because I've been trying to figure out some kishy, clever way to put it on a website, but it's just too dangerous. But that's what I'm conscious of. When you come into this world where I am, be careful, because I will engage with you and keep up with you and love on you. And that's what makes it fun.
Well, let me speak to that. Just a real quick one is that this is Joe Beck for sure, is that we talked for months before, and my insecurity, I don't know if it was insecurity or what, but we spent more time connecting and in a phone relationship, talking just about what we're doing in life. But there was a day that months went by that we said, let's write, and I said okay, and we didn't. And I think we started talking in April, and then about mid-September we were talking. He goes, "Are we going to write?" And I'm like, and it's a serious thing. Talk about walking through. I got a fear that I had dilly-dallied around. That's how we say it back. I'm from Texas, so don't hold that against me. But I had messed around in the enjoyment of connecting, and I was like, oh yeah. So that's when we got ready. That's when Land of Regrets got started, and then Joe did intentionally has put me in touch with all these, like I said, all these guys. And what's cool about it is that they're the A-list of Nashville and that kind of thing that I've both written with and now recorded with. And here's what was really fascinating to me is that they were all about relationships. And a lot of those guys, Will McFarlane as well, one of my heroes, now interacts with me, through social media and messaging and stuff like that. So that isn't a threat, folks. But
let's back up a second, Brooks, and talk about this, because it's big, and every single person will experience this. I did, Billy did, you did. When you first collaborate, there's a fear. But
what do I bring to the table?
Like the song says, don't let your fear stand in the way. Fear is, who was it? Winston Churchill?
No, it was Roosevelt. We have nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yeah. So it's like, don't allow that. And when I say there's fear, that's exactly what Brooks just said. What you just said, Brooks. It's that I'm not good enough. I suck. I'm this. I'm that. And I can't do this, or blah, 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 blah. That's wuss talk. And we just don't allow fear to keep you from doing, because well,
it's like Emily Dickinson has a poem that says, we never know how tall we are till we are asked to stand. So when you're in that moment, you're in that moment, you got to deliver. And there's stuff inside everybody that's wanting to get out. And Brooks, I've just been, it's been fun to be a part of it. And when Joe, lassos me into something, he goes, hey, I got this guy in Hawaii writing some songs with, and jump in on this, and we did. And then we wrote that crazy cool song, because I was in Florida and he was here in Nashville, and we're writing in a triangle spanning a lot of time zones. And I go down to the beach to work on this song called Surfing with Santa. Yeah. And it was just hysterical fun. And my son is a surfer, so he was teaching me the lingo.
Absolutely. Yeah, and listen, I'll plug myself. Go Google or go to YouTube and find "Surfing with Santa" by me. It's up there, and it's it's the next classic beach surfing hit. For the rest of our natural lives. But I want to again compliment you guys. Everybody does have the doubt, or I wouldn't say everybody. I did have the doubt of myself. Plus you get with guys, if you've got this doubt of yourself, and then you're going to write with people that have resumes as if that's, now you can't do it. Y'all made me very comfortable from the very beginning. Excellent. And it took that, it wasn't even an issue. I was almost it took me a second to go, this is not that hard. And again, the way you did it and your own personalities made me comfortable just go ahead and making my contributions for whatever they were. And then again, I'll go back to what I said earlier, is that when I was willing to just throw things out, like throwing spaghetti at the refrigerator,
That's right.
I would hear you guys who have experience, who have, all of this, the writing resume, that would go, man, no, wait, that's good, man. Don't, and one more compliment of both of you is that just even in our talking, as we talked about the ideas, I started learning that notes were being taken, and basically what I was just saying in conversation was even ended up verbatim as a lyric, and so it helped me learn to start looking at my own conversation or my own thought pattern. And another one for me when I'm not with y'all is it's songwriting 101. As an idea comes, get it written down or recorded or logged somewhere, because
Absolutely.
I look good for 75, but my memory has never been that good because it gets away from me.
Well, you know what's cool, Brooks, is we all have to find, when you start, you have to figure out, and only you can do it, only I can do it, you figure out where you fit. Like, I always tell people this with collaboration. Most of the time, people I work with are either gifted at lyrics or gifted at music. There aren't a lot of Billy Joels roaming the world. If there was, I would find them and be a music mogul. But what we try to help you do, and you've done it, is you inwardly figure out, here's my strengths, here's my weaknesses, and this place can help me, accentuate the negatives and
amplify the good stuff.
And that's co-writing.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of co-writing, is you get a different slant on your ideas. God, when we all get to heaven, it's going to be staggering, because I know there's a section down in the business district where it's the art community, where you can go in there and go, now, Joe, here's how many ideas I gave you that you were too stupid to know could have actually altered the course of a whole nation. But you were busy trying to write 8 Ways to Get Rich Quick, and I was dropping Picassos on you like hail. So,
in another one of our episodes, we're going to talk about where songs come from, and you hit on that. You begin to look at your own conversation, your own experience, and we're going to talk about that in another episode. But Brooks, I think you've given our listeners, the songwriters out there, a real sense of what that experience is like, to co-write and to push yourself and to be pushed, and to to partner with people who've been doing this thing. Just puts the afterburners on what you can do yourself. And I know your songs are touching a lot of people out there. You've got your own personal story, and people can find that on your website. Are you at brooksmaguire.com?
Yeah, and Maguire is Maguire. Brooks. Yeah, Maguire.
All right,
not
great.
Hey, here's audience. Here's something cool about Brooks. It's the only reason I worked with him, because I thought it was cool.
Oh dear.
How long did you, and you still do, not as much, but how long were you at Cheeseburger in Paradise? How long have you been playing there?
Well, don't put the was on it. I am now in my 28, starting my 28th consecutive year.
Wow.
And
yeah, I sent you a picture too of my wife and I, when we went on our honeymoon to Maui. I didn't know you, but we have a picture of us being at Cheeseburger and Paradise. Who knew?
And we figured out that at that point in time when y'all came, I was there 4 of the 7 nights a week for, again, for about a 15-year period. So
Amazing.
very likely I'm entertaining the guy that's going to make me the songwriter or help me be the songwriter I am today. So
That's fantastic.
You can't make those kind of synchronicities.
I just have one more question. When are we having the Songwriting University songwriting camp in Maui?
I know. I keep bringing that up.
Well, I'm with you, so I guess, I'm going to flip it back to you. I've been waiting, so I'm here. When are y'all going to get here?
I just wanted to thank you for not only for believing in us, but for even agreeing to take some time this morning and share your feelings on what we do.
Men and women, guys and gals out there, this is the cautionary on the cigarette pack type thing. Don't do this. Don't start, because you won't want to stop. And I'm serious. It's like it's birthed in me. It's brought me so many rewards, and most of them are intangible, invaluable, and they are relationships. But man, I'm just telling you, don't start this, because it's created a whole nother, I'll call it an addiction to do this, because you just want more, and it's because they're delivering on what they say they can deliver, and you'll be wanting to come back.
Thanks,
so,
Brooks.
There you
That's
go.
high praise. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much, and
you bet, man.
you always know this about me. I can't stand you because you're in Maui and I'm not. So go away. Go enjoy your rainbow.
I love the glow.
I hope you choke on that rainbow.
Listen, I will, and I'll call you.
Well, be safe, my friend. Brooks, thank you so much for being with us.
Hey, if you want to get more and hear more from Brooks, go to his website at brooksmaguire.com. That's Maguire, brooksmaguire.com.
Yeah, now before we go, here's our songwriting exercise for the week. I'm fairly certain in the 80s I read an interview that Glenn Frey was giving, Glenn Frey from the group The Eagles, and he was talking about every time he got back starting to work on a record where he had to create music, instead of just jumping in and booking a month and all consuming, he started in small increments. I'm going to take 30 minutes and get my brain exercised. So stealing from that, I think that's our exercise for the week, is try to carve out all 7 days, 30 minutes, where you just either set and focus for 30 minutes on an idea, whether it's trying to find an idea, a word, or scoping around, or you're on your guitar or your piano, but take 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. Well, thanks for joining us on The Joy of Songwriting. Please subscribe, rate, and review our show, and tell another songwriter about us. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, go write a song.
I went surfing with Santa on Christmas.
The Joy of Songwriting is a Pod About It production. You have a great idea? Let's pod about it. Visit podaboutit.com for more information.
Woof, woof. Monkey, monkey.